Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, still here in front of Unulka Live where we ended last episode. So let's see how it goes on with him. Balance unto all. Warrior of Light. If this world is to survive, we must needs move forward with our plan. Another pillar of a Warring Triad must be toppled. The question of which has already been answered. Following our encounter with the Legatus, Archon Stola detected erratic etheric waveforms emanating from the sector containing the island Sophia, known simply as the Goddess in former times. Such readings can only mean one thing. She is close to awakening. Let us return to Azislav forthwith and put an end to the primal deity lest she rise again in all her terrible glory. We appear to be the first to arrive. Shall we await our colleagues here? Crap. Huh? Could the the 6th Legion have returned? Serenia! Unukalai! We under attack. Ishtola and Yonji have engaged a foe not far from here. Okay. What? The first demiurge. Rarely is my shield was tested. It would seem the Alagans have not been lax in their recruitment. Think you so? Perhaps your arm merely withered while we lay idle? Still your tongue, we have stalled them long enough. With scales in hand the goddess shall rise, and righteously cast off her cursed pall, that she with wrathful Worm King at her side might judge and thence bring balance to all. Hear my words in despair, Alagans. Our goddess is awoken. Your civilization has birthed the instruments of its own undoing. It was well that you're here, Serenia. I should like to know what our assailants were saying. You understood the words, did you not? It was a Meracidian dialect, if mine ears did not deceive. Do not deceive, but one which bears scant resemblance to any spoken in recent times. As for our antagonist's meaning, I do gladly defer to those blessed with the echo. The one with the shield seemed to think we were Alagans. We recited what sounded like a verse of prophecy and claimed that their goddess is awoken. Is that about right, Serenia? And might we assume that this deity of theirs is the very icon we've come to topple? Aye, from their tongue, their words, and their attire, it is like that our antagonists were Meracidian, thralls to the goddess Sophia and victims of the Alagans' incursions. If, as Kral claimed it, they fought as agents of Alag, 'tis little wonder that they sought to bring us low. You suggest that Sophia's servants have been liberated from their containment, when we have no choice but to accept word of her awakening as truth. Gods help us, the Warring Triad have proven formidable enough when we've roused from a fraction of their true strength. Should Sophia break free at the peak of her power, Serenia and her friends won't stand a chance. Let us be about then. Serenia, Kryl, Unukalai, the three of you will take directly for Sophia's containment facility. Urianji and I will do what we can to occupy the Icon's thralls. Mistress Kryl, do you perchance recall the words of a prophecy in its entirety? Let me see. I believe it was, with scales in hand the goddess shall rise, and righteously cast off her cursed pall, that she with wrathful Worm King at her side might judge and thence bring balance to all. Wrathful Worm King. Nidok? Or do we actually need Bahamut here? Containment Bay P1T6.
I leave the goddess in your capable hands. Just watch out for her worshippers.
Okay. Okay, there's our boss, Sophia.
The unenlightened come.
Thunder either hide under Sophia or far away, depending on what's closer.
Know you the full weight of death.
Where is she? Over there. Stay out of her way.
To me, my faithful.
Confused.
Come forth, scales of revelation.
Yes, in order to Sophia's followers, but
I would know the weight of your souls.
But I'm not quite certain what it is. And now the scales are in play. The border of the arena is removed. Now we can fall down.
Can you bring equilibrium? I shall tip back the balance.
There was a tether to that scale over there, so we're about to tip in that direction.
Sin must be balanced with suffering. Daughter, be the bearer of my wisdom.
Now the lower body disappears and starts doing nasty things. And that message comes. Two tethers to the left, one to the right.
My revelations are lost.
In case you're not quick enough to stop that. That would have, of course, tipped to the left. No, but that went very well. Back to our regular timeline. Everyone else alright? I see, the goddess is no more. Well done. Once Quai and Unukalai have rejoined us, we may safely depart. One thing yet puzzles me, however. How did Sophia's servants come to wake from their slumber? I believe we have the answer to that. We discovered the remains of a Gallian soldier in an adjacent sector of the containment facility. It is likely that the fool ventured too close to Sophia during the Empire's previous incursion and was enthralled for his troubles. Another reminder, if anywhere needed, as to the incalculable threat posed by these beings. The goddess would not have even been conscious when she claimed the man's will, and yet his mistake granted her the means to release her servants, and would have resulted in her own liberation had we not been on hand to intervene. I do much wonder that the Icon Spawn was capable of so effectively manipulating the facility's containment system. How came he by such rarefied knowledge? That too is easily explained. During our investigation, Kral discovered a subtle flaw in one of the mechanisms which held the goddess in check. A flaw which had plainly been added intentionally. Upon examining the facility's records of a period, we were able to piece together the story. It was a time toward the end of the third astral era, when the people of Miracidia faced extinction at the hand of the Allegan Empire. Sophia, a being of incomparable cunning, was said to have communicated certain plans to her servants through the medium of a trusted oracle. Following the Oracle's instruction, they duly conspired with a rebel faction within Alak, who, we believe, agreed to tamper with a prison intended for Sophia, and then the goddess and her thralls chanced to be captured. Though we suspect that this had always been their plan. Indeed, the prison was situated at the heart of Alak, and we think they intended to attack the city from within. They would merely have had to wait for the rebels to exploit the weakness in their confines. But the conspirators' dealings with the Mercidians were exposed before they could enact their plot, and all were summarily executed. It seems that the flaw itself remained undiscovered, however, and might have remained so until the end of days had it not been for the actions of the Archbishop and subsequently the Guardians. I cannot help but wonder what might have come to pass had their scheme been successful. Mayhap the answer lies in the prophecy? Quite on the right of it. Its words may be deciphered thus. The cursed Pal speaks of Sophia's prison, from which she was supposed to emerge at the agreed hour. The Worm King, meanwhile, can be none other than the great Bahamut himself, then yet a prisoner whom the goddess did intend to unleash upon Alak to set right the scales of justice. A foolhardy plan. Had it come to fruition, the two of them would surely have razed the realm. Naught would have spared the devastation, the Mercidians' homeland included. Their home already stood on the brink of oblivion. Maybe they wished for naught else but to purge the poison of Alak with primal fire. The tale teaches us that even the greatest of man's creation may be brought low by a single act of treachery. The Alagans were fooled to place their trust in technological bondage. To shackle such beings is but to delay the inevitable. Naught save total destruction shall free us from their menace. Let us return now to the Rising Stones, and there consider the final step of this most needful task. The threat posed by this facility is far greater than you imagine, Orianji, and one not limited to the icons themselves. Sophia's remaining servants must be put down. Bleep bloop. Warning, deactivating stasis chamber support systems will result in subject termination. Enter identification code to continue. Identification code accepted. Subjects terminated. Okay. Unukalai, where did you get an ancient Allagan identification code? Is Artemis Warrior of Light? Akoni Stoller mentioned that there was a matter she wished to discuss. Well, Matzerania, you will forgive me if I seem curt, but I would settle an account with our young friend. While conducting a final sweep of Sophia's containment facility, we discovered that all of her remaining thralls had perished in their stasis chamber. This was your doing? Aye, it was. I chose to act upon the knowledge revealed in the tombstone we recovered. The true purpose of these prisons is far more horrifying than we first assumed. The Allagans were not simply observing the icons and siphoning away their energies. We were conducting experiments in preparation for a far more ambitious project. If you recall, both the Fiend and the Goddess were imprisoned within massive spherical structures. These spheres were the prototypes which paved the way for the successful construction of an artificial celestial body. You speak of Dalamut. Aye, the icon's cages are unmistakably of the same design as the Red Moon. To be plain, the research facility contains the seeds of 3 calamities which might feasibly be visited upon the chosen target. Eliminating one of them necessitated destruction of the goddess's slumbering falls. A distasteful fast, unbefitting one such as the Warrior of Light. Thus did I resolve to perform the deed myself. You have made your case, and it is apparent that we are not in full possession of the facts. Nevertheless, your notion of what may or may not be expected of Serenia is presumptuous in the extreme. When the Warrior of Light chose to join the Science, she did so in the knowledge that she would be required to face and destroy not only the primals, but also their fanatical servants. Which would determine a distasteful task is an essential part of our calling, a burden which every scion is sworn to shoulder. I see. It would seem I have misjudged the depth of your resolve. No matter. Assuming I have made myself understood, we need not speak of it again. There is, however, one other subject which merits discussion. You determined that Sophia's thralls were awoken by a Garlean soldier who had somehow gained access to the containment area, did you not? If that is the case, it seems highly doubtful that the interloper wandered into such a dangerous part of the facility by chance. Dissidents within the Empire claim that the 6th Legion is rife with agents under orders to thwart the Legatus mission by any means necessary. Lest you imagine that we have allies in Garlemald, I should clarify that their motive is wholly uncharitable. Regula van Hydrus rose to the top of the Garlean military on merit alone, and is fiercely loyal to the Emperor for recognizing his efforts. His compeers, by contrast, rose through the favor of an established order and would accordingly do anything to see him fail. That they would be so reckless? You truly believe that the action of these agents contributed to the recent crisis? Aye, and that they pose no less a risk to the realm than those loyal to the Emperor. Plainly, we must needs continue to do all in our power to prevent the technologies of Alak from falling into the hands of men. On that point, at least, we have ever been in complete agreement. I think that is enough for today. Maybe not, maybe I cut it with the next one together, but we will see, right? Anyway, until next time, I'm Mace, and don't get lost.